All right. Welcome back, everyone. Um, as you probably already saw from the title, my deck profile that I did last week, I'm trying to remember, maybe it was a little while longer ago than that now, but the deck profile I did like a week or two ago, this past weekend, I finally had it kind of like complete, put together, had it tested out a bit. And I think that exact profile or something like plus or minus a couple of cards. I just topped my locals. We actually won the whole event. It was out of, I think, 18 or 19 people. We had a score line of four wins, one tie, and no losses. So I would say that that was pretty stinking good. It was a pretty stinking good showing. And that was against some meta threats as well as some rogue threats as well. Meta threats that we faced this last weekend were Memento, Mitsuguri, and then Rogue. We played against Peruli, and then Exodia, and then as well as Ancient Gear. But that's also in like Rogue tier, right? Um, this week, instead of doing another deck profile, I'm gonna kind of be going over what changes I'm going to be making to engine and other things. So while I talk here, I'm just going to start sorting these out, kind of, just so that I get them ready to kind of work with. So one thing that I did pick up that was not in the deck profile last week were triple Fuwalos. Put in work this weekend, actually. I don't know how I was surviving this long without running them. Droll also put in a ton of work, as expected. um, as well as the Dogmatika, surprisingly, Dogmatika did uh, way more work than I was kind of expecting. I ran them as like a board breaker option, and they did not disappoint. They did a really good job clearing fields and kind of just like generically doing exactly what they're supposed to. Right. So it's all three of those. That's all three of these. That's all three of those. I think I also maybe cut one pot of extravagance because I was drawing into it a little too much, which is not really good because it is once per turn, and it also anti synergizes with prosperity. You can't activate both in the same turn anyway. Same with Fuwalas. All of them kind of prevent you from proccing other effects in the same turn. One that I was disappointed with was Infinite Impermanence. It's been such a staple in the game for so long now that it's kind of hard to like imagine playing without it. But I think that is going to be one of the changes that happens this week. Um, Also, we're cut down to 2 births. I don't know if that was in there last week. That's Theosis, the last pressure planet, last Ash, last Dogmatika card, Maximus, my last 2 Fawalos, last Nadir Servant, and last General Tech card of just clearing. All right, so jumping into this week, I was I think the biggest revamp that we're going to be seeing here is going to actually be uh, side deck. I was kind of disappointed with the overall performance of some of the side deck cards. Uh, I think because I don't know if you guys recall, but I ended up side decking some of the specific extra deck monsters for super polymerization along with super polymerization. So that right there is eating up 6 slots in the extra deck and making it quite tight. I will say, out of everything that happened this week, um, the least impactful cards were actually. Sorry, I'm trying to move the lamp so that we don't get so much glare. I'll move them back into focus here in a bit. But the least impactful cards this weekend was definitely super poly. I was really hoping that this would come up more as a board breaker. It really didn't. I never had a chance to really use it as a board breaker. I think the only like hypothetical board breaker that I would have to have it is like against like a Chaos Angel. But besides that, it's like I'm not quite sure what else to like really do with it, and it's taking up so much space in the side deck, the extra deck, the main and the main deck, that I think it is time to just call it on it. I think I gave it pretty solid testing this week over the course of however many days that was that I was playing, and go ahead and trim that out. I don't think it's making the cut any further than here. So thank you for your time, Chorozo. Thank you for your time, Starving Venom. Because like that's the thing, I never even got into a Starving Venom, or I think I got into like one Chorozo over the course of the whole weekend, and it barely even did anything. Like it was so low impact in the game that like I didn't even really notice it. Um, High impact cards though, Chaos Hunter, huge. I picked these up as well for the extra deck. Great option against Banish based, evenly matched, got a lot of mileage, and actually Mask of Restrict is what actually helped me win games 2 and 3 in the final match on Sunday. I'm still waiting for the third one of those, but I was able to draw into it by chance, which was really fortunate, but ended up going very well. Um, I think the big things that are going to be happening this week with side deck is we are taking Feather Duster out of the main, moving it to the side with 2 Lightning Storms as a board breaking option. Uh, and then additionally, we will also be adding Triple Lancia to pair with the Chaos Hunter against banishment focused strategies. I think Chaos Hunter is the preferred because it's a body on my board. It's a little spooky. It has great synergy with the Kashtiras. I can just normal it out with Birth. I don't even have to like do anything special. If I get literally any Kashtira card and a Chaos Hunter, I'm able just to like kind of combo into that, and then normal summon the Chaos Hunter without even having to tribute for it. So I think that is going to be my final extra deck. So that includes Triple Lancia for the banishment, Harpy's Feather Duster with double Lightning Storm for board breaking going second, or for spell and or for spell and trap heavy strategies. Because I feel like there's just not enough strategies right now where Feather Duster is like OP broken, especially if you're going first. It's just kind of dead in the hand because you never want to see it going first. Same. Well, obviously, same with Lightning Storm. So I think they're very solid going second cards, but I would not have them going first. Especially in the current format with how many back row there are, like in like Malice, Mitsuguri also has a decent amount of like back row. You're able to kind of force them to just kind of like enter their play at the start of the main phase instead of like having to wait. Triple Chaos Hunter, same reason as Lancia, except I think it's higher synergy kind of with Kashtira. And it's good even when you're going first, because you kind of just summon it out and it's a body on the field that's just kind of floating, that's preventing. Evenly matched, no explanation needed. And then Mask of Restrict against Mitsuguri was really strong as well. Just no cards can be tributed. Really easy. Also, I really liked the Hunter because it's only your opponent cannot banish cards. You can still play your strategy the way that Kashtira intended with her on the field, but I do not believe Lancia is the same because Lancia's neither player can banish. So it's like if you go first and then you Lancia them during their turn after like setting board, you won't be able to like unicorn them. You won't be able to Fenrir them. You won't be able to like basically play like the Kashtira the way that they kind of want to be played, which is a little tough. But I think this kind of solves that. which is why I would prefer to just end board on Chaos Hunter and then pass instead of uh, playing exclusively with Lancia. As I was saying, Infinite Impermanence, I think it's been okay. It does not feel high enough impact relative to like Drolls, Fualos, Ash. Um, Denying just like a single effect, but then maintaining a body feels okay. I feel like people could argue the same thing about Ash, but Ash stops like additional plays on top of that, right? It's like Ash is capable of stopping uh well, just like any sort of special summon. So it's like if they're doing like the Mitsuguri rituals, if they're doing the King of the Feral Imp summon, this feels a lot stronger in like interruption just generally. Also, there's no restriction on board state because there's a lot of times where it's like I would set board, kind of set imperm, and then it would just get popped before it even gets a chance to like kind of like resolve on a high prio target. So I think for that reason, imperm's gone right now. And then even then, like the meta archetypes right now, like Memento, Malice, and Mitsuguri, are all able to kind of like dodge that targeted. So I don't think there's much point in running something that's so easily dodgeable. When there's other options, some people are like, oh, imperm, it's great against rogue strategies. And it's like sure, but so is Droll, so is Mulcharmy Fualos, and so is Nib. I think Nib is just going to be significantly better than Impermanence. It kind of has a bigger, more impactful effect, and you're able to use it even when going first without much. Well, obviously the drawback is you're nuking your own board, but somebody being forced to like play through your own end board plus a nib maybe feels a little stronger. Because I was actually picking the brain of local legend Fritz here in Austin. I don't know if anybody saw, but he actually came in second at Houston regionals not too far back with his absolute pile of a deck, and it was a really impressive win. So I was really picking his brain about how he goes about it, and I think I definitely agree with him. It like took me a while, like some internal debating and some just like play testing, like see it yourself moment, right? But I definitely think he's right. I think there's not much to really say about that. Okay. I guess like moving forward now, I guess the next question becomes, well, if we're taking all of this stuff out of the extra deck, that being super poly and other things, and like the super poly targets, what are we replacing it with? So this might be a little bit of a time jump. So as just as a recall, Starving Venom, the Chorozo's gone. Obviously, we're going to be keeping Garura and the Tis just because we are running Dogmatika. They are excellent board breakers and extenders at the end of your turn. But the question might now be, what are we going to be doing different now, right? And that's something that I've been thinking about for a bit. I guess first address as well, we are going to be axing the pot of extravs. They were pretty good. Potentially the pot of prosperity as well. The pot of prosperity is on thin ice right now. I think it's a really good one of just because you get to kind of like draw into like good stuff. My only issue with them right now is that Droll exists. And because Droll exists, unfortunately, that means you get hit pretty hard pretty early if you do any sort of like ignorant uh add cards play, right? Which is a little unlucky that's the format right now. because I was experimenting with these based off of the recommendation of like an older Kashtira player's video. Um, they were kind of talking specifically about um, how who really gives a flying fuck about non-engine and like all these extra cards that people run in like the extra deck, when you could just get to like the bread and butter of your actual engine in main deck. Oops, sorry, did not mean to hit my table that hard. And I think that was right at the time. I think right now, just due to the format, it does not make sense anymore. And same with like cards like Terraforming, which sucks because I just got this different rarity one, right? Um, but just due to the way that like the format is right now, tutors I think are at like an all-time low right now. It's like you don't want to be tutoring out. You don't want to be like tutoring out cards that are like low impact, right? It's like if I'm gonna search a card, it is going to be the last card I search for the turn. So I think deck thinners and tutors that are kind of like redundant are kind of pointless at this point. So that's why I'm axing the pots. That's why I'm axing the terraforming, and I'm trying to just get it condensed down at this point, where I am at least with a playable board, or like a playable hand, kind of regardless of what I draw, right? So, um, this is hand traps now. I'm just going to go ahead and pack these up and put them to the side. The triple Fua, triple Droll, triple Ash, triple Nib. And those are kind of going to be like the mainstays of the main deck. I would say probably if I end up going first, the first ones to go would be like Fuwalos and Nib. For some of the other hand trap options like Chaos Hunter, uh, Lancia, etc. Right? Masks of restrict, because those cards I think are definitely like first, like going first leaning versus like some of the going second leaning cards, like well, Lancia again, but evenly matched, the Lightning Storm, the Harpy's Feather Duster, right? So those can just sit here. Now we can bring the rest back into focus. So as I was kind of saying, I'm really planning on trimming down the package now. So we have 12 here in this stack. I'm just going to put it to the side. So now I believe all we have left is 3 Unicorn, Kashtira, Fenrir at 3, so that's 6. 1 Ogre, 7. 1 Rise Heart, 8. 1 Scareclaw, 9. And that's just going to be the basic Kashtira package that I'm going to run. I know it's like a quite extended Kashtira package, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think they're really enjoyable archetype to play. Some people don't really like playing against it. Unlucky. And then as I was saying, terraforming's cut, but I think race off, really solid option. I maybe wouldn't open with it unless I have to. So like if I draw race off and no other cards, I would maybe open with it. But I think most of the time I would try and open with Unicorn or Fenrir and then search an extension off of that. Because if you start with the field spell and grab like one of the monsters and then you can't get a second search to like extend with like either Birth, Theosis, uh Birth or Theosis, you're kind of boned. So I would say for that reason, uh it's kind of not as good as it's been, but I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's a bad extension option now. And worst comes to worst, it's like again, you can use it to find your unicorn, and hopefully you have enough like hand trap juice with the stronger hand trap set now with nib and droll that you can kind of stop somebody's turn too if you do get nit or if you do get drolled on your first turn. As I was saying, cutting down packages just to be a little more consistent. Since birth is so searchable, I really am just gonna have to cut it to one. Um, I think originally it was at three. Um, it just no longer makes sense, I think, in the format. Um, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Back when it was like like a level 7 pile, and like that's kind of what like the goal of the deck was. But now that we're kind of evolving and like moving past that and like into like a more competitive like board breaking one shot swing style deck, um that just really doesn't make sense anymore. So single birth, searchable by unicorn. If you open birth, I think it's nice to have theosis because you can search theosis, use scareclaw effect to banish it to get another one, use rise heart effect, banish it, get a card back. It has good utility outside of just being used to special summon another monster. And then finally, preparations. Some of the first cards to get cited out are preparations and ogre. I think ogre is not really good going second because it is like a trap card setup. I like it going first because it's like you summon ogre, set prep, activate prep during draw phase, and then if they imperm you or like something like that, dominus you, you get to rip one from the hand. Just with the rate that like dominus and imperm is being played in most decks, I think it still makes sense to play. And then that does it for that. I think now moving to, so how many cards is that total? I think that is a total of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards total. Nine Kashtira monsters, 5 Kashtira spells, and then 1 Kashtira trap. Yeah. So 15 total. So 15 plus 12 is 17, 27. Then we're running triple Nadir Servant. Still, great card. Again, the droll really hurts because if you get drolled earlier, you can't resolve a Nadir Servant, which kind of really sucks. But again, hopefully, like the hand trap setup these now makes a little more sense. Double Ecclesia. I'm cutting one of them because I don't think it makes sense to be running through anymore. At this point, we're running again. It's like the same idea with like other tutors, just kind of like cutting them. I think Ecclesia is like too good, like generically, to like cut completely. But I definitely want to be seeing less of her. Then one Maximus, immune to droll, and then one Fleur de Lis, also immune to droll. So those are nice extension options. If you already have a extra deck monster in the grave, or if there's an extra deck monster on the field, those are pretty easy to get. And before I forget, I actually picked up. Boom. Ecclesia rarity bump. Why? Why not? So, Secret Rare. So, not bad. I kind of like that one. Cool. So now I have 2 Ecclesias in the binder. And then again, that just kind of does it for the Dogmatika. Short, sweet, to the point, just 7 cards. Maybe even in the future, Nadir Servant even goes down to 2 as well. Just lighten the package even more. And this is where things are getting interesting and where I've decided to deviate the original game plan, right? I have decided to play around with Shadow. Not only in the main deck, but majoritively in the extra deck. With all the spots that are being freed up from removal of the pots. I'm crushing less cards, so I don't need to be running as many duplicates. I can select the cards I actually want to get rid of, and it's a little more controlled in that sense. Extrav was just like a little too unpredictable for me. I do not want to be running Dragon. I actually want to be running Beast. But I wanted to be running 2 targets in the deck for what's it called? The one that starts with an A. El Shadow Apacalone? Apacalone? This guy. So I wanted to run 2 targets for Apacalone just because it would kind of feel bad to draw into just the Schism, because then this card is kind of dead. It makes no sense to even have in the deck at that point. But if I have a second card still in the deck, I can add this card and then still discard it, getting the Shadow name in my grave, and then getting the effect to, well, I want Beast so that I can just draw one. It's kind of like an extended Garura, except it goes even harder in advantage because you're searching and then discarding what you don't want, then drawing one as well. So it feels a little stronger than Garura. At this point, you could honestly, if I had Beast, if I use a Maximus effect and hit Garura and Beast, and this one at the same time, I would be going +2 off of Maximus effect alone, just in that one turn, which seems pretty strong. Again, it's kind of droll dependent, so even getting to like this point of the turn might be a little difficult, but we'll just kind of have to see. I'm not really a psychic. I'm not really a mind reader, but yeah, we'll just see. So I'm thinking single here, and then a Winda actually for being my main summon that I'm going to be going for. So basically, after wrong sleeve. So basically, after summoning like my normal end board, I'll be able to kind of just extend. So currently, what's usually happening is I'm extending Ecclesia into Fleur de Lis, and then just holding Fleur de Lis in hand to quick effect negate an on-field effect and get an extra body on the field during my opponent's turn. As I was kind of talking about before, just feels kind of bad to just have a single target negate. So I think Winda is going to be a really strong tech pick here, just because it is kind of like that longer, lingering, more burdensome effect than a single target negate. Unfortunately, I do think we are a little bit in a floodgate meta right now, and I think that is really where it's coming to. Some other tech options I'm playing with right now in the extra deck is Nightmare Phoenix. I don't think Nightmare Phoenix is going to be making it. I don't think it's very good. So I'm not going to talk too much about that. I don't have much time left here before the recording ends, but for the most part, extra deck really not changing that much. We're just having the inclusion of the Shadow core here, just so that we can get some lockouts here, and then with the use of Schism fusion during our opponent's turn after we locked ourselves out of summons with Dogmatikas during our turn. Anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.